Steve, what are we here doing today?
So we got a pretty cool build video coming for you guys, and we're gonna get started on our boy Angel's Mustang, but she needs a bath first. We're not gonna film and do a build video on some dirty Mustang. So me and Dan the man are gonna do a little car wash action here and then get this thing in the shop. I feel like we should show people what this thing's like to drive without an angle kit.
I think you got something on your nose.
Do I?
Yeah.
What is that? I can see it. Oh, it's gone. It was a little white fuzzy, not a booger.
And bam, here is the Mustang.
Right here, this is the car we're going to be using for this project. It's our boy Angel's 2000 Mustang GT. And it's got a PS1C Pro Charger on it, I believe. I might have butchered that, but it's got a Pro Charger on it. And this car already makes more than enough horsepower to drift. It looks good. That's a bonus in the drift community. Don't worry too much about that. But this is a good car, and a lot of guys are building these. You can pick these up relatively cheap. 4.6 liter, super reliable. Keep coolant, keep oil in them. They live forever. 8.8 rear end. Weld the diff, put an angle kit on it. I like to be right up on the wheel. I gotta adjust it. That's another little tip we can put in the video. Before you drive someone's car, get comfortable in it. If you can't be comfortable in it, you're not gonna be able to drive it good. So the car's got some bolt-ons, it's got a Pro Charger, but it's relatively stock. I believe it's still open diffing, but it's really just a nice cruiser car show car. This thing probably isn't right now set up to party, but we gotta test it. We gotta test it to see what we're working with. And then we're gonna show you guys the improvements. Me and Gucci decided to take this thing out for a quick little beatdown session before we start working on this thing. And as you can see, it's open diffing. It doesn't really want to slide right there. It's just completely obliterating the one tire. I could get it to do some basic donuts, but it just didn't have any angle. The rear end wanted to come around, and I just didn't want to beat the absolute snot out of this car. We already had a little bit of smoke coming from up the front, so wanted to just get it in the shop and get this thing apart. So obviously you guys seen this thing's peg-leg a little bit. You want to weld the diff. You want both wheels to be spinning at the same time. Best way to do it, cheapest way to do it is weld the diff. A lot of different ways to do it, but Doug Vanstrom here, the man, the myth, the Ford legend, is going to show us how to go through this and what you should and shouldn't do to weld your diff. So Doug, what do you got to do here? Just give us a quick rundown.
The best way to do it is to take the carrier right out of it. Right, so you pull the wheels, pull the brakes, pull the rear cover, knock the C-clips out, and pull the axles out just a little bit so we can get the center out. And then we'll go through and clean it up real good, get all the oil off of it, dry it out, and then we'll weld it and put it all back together. It's not a hard job, a little time consuming, but I don't like welding them in the car because it gets splatter everywhere. It's hard to weld through all the oils and stuff that's in there. So take it out, clean it, weld it, put it back together, and I'm gonna show you how to do that.
Time to remove brakes.
Yeah, we're gonna pull the calipers off of it. And then I'm gonna drop this sway bar a little bit. So I'll take these two front bolts out and loosen these back ones. And we'll take the sway bar down, and what that's gonna do is help us get the pumpkin, or the center section out, because it's hard to get it out, twist it around, and get it around this. So for the 2 minutes it takes to lower that, there's no sense in fighting it. So let's get these off and we'll go from there. This comes apart pretty nice. It's not all tore up. All rusty.
Did you get a hold of Eli?
Alright, so calipers are removed, rotors are removed, and now we are removing the sway bar. Well, not removing, just loosening it up.
Yeah,
get it out the way. But yeah, rotors and calipers are off. A little rusty, nothing too crazy.
Stand right under it so it'll fall and smack you in the head.
Facts, I was gonna say, let it hit Doug in the head.
Better be a star when that happens.
Nice.
Your cover off. You can get to some of them with a small impact. Save your tag. I don't like it matters. This is a 13 millimeter. All right, I'm just gonna pop the axles out in the diff. The brakes are off. The speed sensors here, you're going to want to take these loose. You don't got to take them all the way out, but there's I want to say it's an E8, it's like an inverted Torx. Takes the bolt out, and you just grab a hold of this with a pair of pliers and twist it a little bit and slide it back, because the reluctor ring will hit it for the ABS if you don't. Then there's a bolt right here. That's for your cross pin. And you can spin it up and start trying to get your cross pin out. A lot of times it'll take a little bit of
work. Would you look at that? There it is.
These stubborn ones, I'll put this bolt in there to use as leverage. And it's not even working.
She's in there.
It is. Got a little too far. I was grabbing the. There it goes. It's starting to come now.
That's what she said.
There we go.
Look at
Pin
that.
is out. Then we're going to push. You're going to find the one side that you can get the C-clips out. You push the axle in. Go ahead and knock that C-clip right out of there. Sometimes you might need a pick. If it won't push through the back, you got to pull it out through the front.
Mm-hmm.
So spin it around. We'll do the same thing to the other one. Push it in, spin it around, and pull it out.
Easy
Then,
peasy.
these will just pop right out of here. Have bad axle seals,
Like this one?
now's the time to do it. Because you could go ahead and hook the end of your axle right on it. So say you want to pop this out of there, when you get it all the way out to here, just grab a hold and hook it right there, pull down, it'll pop that seal right out of there, and you can drive a new one in. Speaking of bad axle seals, this one is bad. So just gonna go ahead, we pull this out. Wow. And use the end of the axle just to pop it right out of there.
Nice and easy.
Yep, we'll clean it up and we'll put a new seal in there. Check your bearing. It's nice and tight. Bearing surface here isn't all messed up. All right, when we take the rear diff out, or the center section, loosen these up and go in there with a smaller one. These caps are meant to go on the way they came off on each side. There's arrows pointing out. So make sure that when you take them out, put them down like you're looking at them. Make sure that doesn't fall out of there.
Easy peasy.
And then it should pop if it's not too tight.
Oh,
there
wow.
we go. This has been done before because these are aftermarket shims.
Mm-hmm.
Just pop them all out. Keep these on the same side as well. It should go right back to the way it was. Grab your bearing halves. And that's it. Now it's time to clean this thing up and weld it up. U.S. Patent Canada. Fuck. What?
All right. Day two.
Day two. Got the center section all welded up, got the ring gear put back on, just putting it back in. These 8.8 gets torqued to there's a big range, but I always go to around 70 foot-pounds because that's really how they should be. Don't jam these in with an impact because you can stretch them, you can warp the caps. Just put them in hand tight and torque them 70 foot-pounds, you should be good to go. I got a seal that I'm going to put in. We're going to slide the axles in, and then we can get the cover on and get this part wrapped up, and then we can move on to the angle kit. This thing doesn't have the ass to slide that in.
So put a little bit of Loctite on that. What is that, the retaining pin?
This is a threaded pin that retains the center pin that holds the axles and holds the upper gears from falling out of place.
Okay.
But not like they can fall out of place anymore because they're all welded in. Action seals are in, axles are in, pins are in. It's aftermarket rear diff cover, SVE. It's been powder coated, really cool. But these are nice because they have a nice thick sealing surface as opposed to this factory little tin.
Oh yeah.
job, right?
Oh yeah.
So not only does it promote non-leaking, it also has a girdle support in it that puts some slight pressure on these caps. It helps with any type of movement, distortion, what have you. Just got to be careful. You don't want to tighten these down too much. 10 foot-pounds is all you need to just preload these caps a little bit. If you too much, it's just going to warp stuff.
Okay, so if someone's got the funds and they're in the position, you would recommend they should grab something like this for their build.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not a requirement. However, it is nice.
So you know what? Some more Steve advice for the video. If you're going to be building a drift car, sometimes you should think about before you do stuff that's pretty, because whoever powder coated this did a great job. It looks good, but now, Doug, those holes are a little too plugged up to get the bolts through. Fun stuff, fun stuff. But you know what? Nobody would have thought that ahead of time, but yeah, sometimes function over beauty.
Put that in. It's smart to have 2 bolts in your hand. Unless you got somebody that can hand you another one.
Any specific way you should put them in, or no? Just anywhere, as long as you start with the bottom.
Anywhere. I start with the bottom or the top, right? You can start with either one just to come to keep it centered. And then you just torque them down like you normally would anything else. And kind of like a
Star pattern. Yep. About how tight do you want to go on these, Douglas?
they're a 5/16 bolt, so we don't want to go more than like 20, 21 foot-pounds. All right, we'll get a torque wrench and torque goes down. Just snug them.
So you just want to snug those up.
Yeah, just till they hit the cap. Okay. 10 foot-pounds, 120 inch-pounds. Looks like we already are there. Doesn't take much. That's it. Check this one again with the right Allen head. Okay, now since these go through all the way in, I'm going to put a little thread sealer on the outside of these when I put the nuts on, so that way gear oil can't come up the threads and out.
All right, so next, what are we doing? We're getting the brakes on this thing?
Yeah, I'm going to snug those down, torque those per se. We just want to put a little snug on it. And the thread sealer I put on it is actually just an orange Loctite.
There you go.
Which is easily removable but good at sealing. So I'm just going to snug these up a little bit.
All right, we got the sway bar back in. Now, this is a fun little fact. You can upgrade these, get a stiffer one, get a bigger one. That helps stabilize these cars because they are subframe cars, and that brings me to my next point. This car has nice subframe connectors on it. You want the welded ones, but honestly, something is better than nothing. Helps stiffen these cars up, make them a little bit easier to control. You want all the help you can get, considering that these cars are not, like I said, IRS. They're a solid axle, so they're a little bit more darty when you drift them around, but great cars to start with. Now we're gonna get the brakes on this thing.
Got to remember to put the ABS speed sensors back in if you're still running ABS. I use a little pair of pliers. Just twist it back and forth and move it in, move it out. These are just a little, these are what, an E8, which is almost like an inverted Torx. And that's what you need to get that bolt out for the ABS sensor. Just be careful, a lot of times they will break. And there's really not much you can do about it once they're broken unless you drill it out and retap the hole.
Oh, so that could turn into a nightmare quick.
We're going to use these for now. The pads are still good. However, there's anti-rattle clips that normally go on these. So if you're getting noise in your rear brakes, chucking and what have you, it's because there's clips that are supposed to be in there to keep these things from bouncing around. We don't have access to those right now, so for the time being, we're just going to put these back on, and then we can go in later and put some anti-rattle clips on there so it doesn't make all that noise.
All right, so what are we doing now, Doug?
I'm pulling this bracket. This is just a bracket for the pinion snubber to hit. I'm just going to pull it out of the way so I can fill this thing with gear oil because it's kind of in the way of the hole. pop that out for now. Looks like there's a little mud dauber's nest in there.
Oh, mud daubers. Those are like the little bees, right?
Yeah.
Bees, wasp. Mud dauber sounds like a slur. Like imagine if like, dude, this neighborhood is great, and then all the mud daubers moved in. You know? Okay, so I was picking Doug's brain about, hey, what kind of fluid do they need to run? Anything specific? And Doug had a good answer. What do you got for me?
Well, you can run 80, 90, but these say 75, 140 synthetic, that's what we're going to put in it. Now, the reason it's not 100% important is because there's no clutches in this thing anymore, right? They are, but they're all welded together,
right.
So it doesn't matter. I'm going to run a 75, 140 that has limited slip in it, additive in it, and that's only because most full synthetics have a limited slip additive in them already.
Okay.
But it's not required. So if you get a good fluid that doesn't have limited slip additive and it's welded, it doesn't matter.
Dog. Oh. Ooh.
Howdy. All right, so we've got our angle kit here, and we've got some VC coilovers and a basically stock new edge front suspension. This does have some aftermarket brakes, and it still has a sway bar on it. But I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the things that we need to do in order to make this kit work, and what we need to take apart, and some of the process in doing that. You can get these instructions right on SRD's website, print them out, then you have everything. It tells you kind of where to put everything to start.
Oh, beautiful.
To give you a baseline and go from there. And maybe some things that you didn't think that you needed to do, they're all in here. They already know what you need to do to these cars in order to make this angle kit work.
Yeah.
So it's good to just print these out. One of the things I do is the steering wheel's locked straight right now. Now we can unlock it and we can rotate everything back and forth a million times. What I like to do is leave it locked. Another thing we're going to have to do is you can see already with just stock that the wheel is hitting right here.
Yeah, it's all beat down.
Right. So what's going to happen is, like I said, even though we're gaining track width is extended, you're going to get more angle, so you're still going to hit here. So what they recommend doing is kind of making a line along this frame rail. Right, and just cutting this whole piece of this right out.
Yep.
If you have a tubular K-member, like an aftermarket tubular one, there's usually not any clearancing that you're going to have to do. But if you're using the factory one, you're going to have to cut it out. So first things first is we're going to unhook some of the steering. We're going to take all the brakes off. We're going to take the wheel hubs off because we have some things to do in behind it. It gives you access to the bolt on the back of this rack where the steering shaft hooks to the rack. The nice thing is that this is like a triangle shaft, right? It only goes on one way, so you can't really mess it up. So we're going to take this bolt out. We're going to slide this up, because what I'm going to have to do in order to get this bolt out is I'm going to have to slide the rack forward.
Okay.
It doesn't come past here. It's kind of hidden in behind, and when you try to get it out, it's going to run into the boot, and you can tear the boot and everything. A lot of guys don't run boots, but I still like to get it out of the way.
Absolutely.
So we'll take the steering shaft off, we'll take these bolts out, we'll slide this forward, and that'll give us access there. Another thing we need to do is get rid of the sway bar. Unfortunately, when you start adding angle, even though your lower control arm is farther out, you're adding a lot more angle, you're going to hit this. SRD does make a blade style high clearance sway bar, which basically the bar is underneath here, but it pivots out in here so it can grab a hold of the control arm. Factory one has to go. There's no way around it. And we're going to take this whole knuckle, strut, assembly, ABS sensors, everything right off of the car.
Okay.
We're going to set them on the bench. We're going to disassemble everything, make our modifications. We'll go ahead and start installing these new pieces. And what we'll do is I'll start installing these threaded heims into these lower control arms, while Mitch is going to be cutting out engine cradle, right? So that way we have the clearances that we need, and then we can just start putting it back together.
So a little work ahead of us, guys. Let's get plugging away here. So you're pulling the rack out of this thing now?
Yep. There's a little 15 millimeter bolt. I wouldn't call it little. It actually goes all the way through. And then it's an 18 millimeter nut on this side. And then once you get them off, just go ahead and slide these right out of there. Why I guess I not really short.
Oh, yeah.
If you lose this, you're going to have a hard time finding it. And there's a sleeve that this sits on, so this will slide right forward. Slide right out of the way for you. Okay.
You just leave it sit there for now?
For now, I'm going to bust these jam nuts loose and take these off. The
Dust
outer
shields?
tie rod
Yeah.
ends. Once we take these off, we will be taking the dust shields off. But I got to take these off, the outer tie rods off. They don't have any cotter pins in them, so
Oh, goody.
pop this baby out of here. A lot of times these will get stuck if they haven't been messed with. Usually the rears get stuck worse, but looks like that's going to come out of there.
Get it, dog, get it. Oh. The best how-to videos. Doug Vandrum, Steve Pelosa, Gucci Burr was getting in here behind the camera.
So, to the people that do this for a living, maybe leave this attached first. I didn't think those were going to take that hard.
Hey, man, we're learning together in this video.
Okay, that's good. Tie rods off, you can use a pickle fork. If you're ever going to reuse these, it's nice to save these, right? Maybe a buddy needs them. And you use a pickle fork, it usually tears up the boot. A lot of times you can just smack it here and it'll vibrate loose. If the charge pipe's not in the way. More times.
Yeah.
It'll fall right out of there. Okay, so we got the brake caliper off, we got the rotor off, we got this upper bolt out. It looks like this has an aftermarket kit. I was curious. So this has a cambered upper bolt in it. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's machined down and sleeved, and it's got a piece in there that so you can camber this and move the upper part in and out. That's not necessary anymore because we can adjust it on the camber plates. And honestly, that makes that really weak because now that bolt being machined the way it is, it's lost about a quarter of its strength. Right? So we're going to get a factory or a good aftermarket bolt to replace that upper with. Just like the rear, we need to take this speed sensor out of here. Get it out of the way because we have to cut this dust shield off. Got to get the ball joint out of it, and then we have to cut the bottom of the knuckle, actually right here. You can see where this goes through here. We're going to have to cut that off because there's a billet piece that mounts up underneath, and that's right in the way.
Okay.
So dust shields will not be going back on it, and that's fine. Once we get the rest of the knuckle off and control arms off and everything, then we'll resume and we'll show you what we need to do from there.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, Douglas, you said there's something we need to discuss. What is it, my friend?
Absolutely, and most people will know this, but some people that are doing this may not. And I just kind of looked over here and I'm like, maybe I should point this out. So we've got this upper bolt out. I needed to get it out of the way to get the upper caliper bolt because it's an aftermarket and it was really long and in the way. Do not take this one out.
Okay.
Right now, because this thing still has a coil spring on it. And what's going to happen, you take that out,
bang.
This whole thing is just going to, spring could come out and smack you in the face, whatever. When I'm ready to take that out, I will show you the way that I do it. So that way people can save themselves a bunch of headache. If you're doing this on the floor, you can easily just use a floor jack and support this lower control arm while you take this off and then lower the floor jack. Very difficult to do it without an engine in it. So if you're if you're trying to take these springs out and you don't have an engine in the car or you're doing this during a build, there's a good chance that the car is just going to lift right up because the spring pressure is so strong. It's just going to flip everything backwards. So just be careful while you're doing it. Zip ties are not a good idea.
No.
I see a lot of guys like put 100 zip ties on there to compress it and then try to. It may work one time. All right, we got the stand underneath the lower control arm. We're going to lower the lift down onto it a little bit. Put a little pressure on it. And now we can go ahead and take the bolt out for the strut. And this is going to be supporting this control arm. And there we go.
You did it, dog.
Yep. Now we just lift the car back up. And it's off. Now these are lowering springs, so they've got a little bit less tension. If this was a stock spring, that thing, even with this all the way down, would still be bowed out. There'd be a ton of tension on it.
He's gonna grab a big pry bar and we're gonna pop the bottom of that out.
You're gonna climb up underneath that, just pop the bottom of it out.
That's the biggest pry bar ever, Douglas.
Well, that's because it allows me to stand back really far.
Yeah, that's good. That's true.
There. Now we are free.
Hit me, Douglas.
Of course, that one's not gonna pop.
Yep, no, I missed filming the first one. Yeah, and this is a good point to point out that don't get discouraged if things get hard. That's part of working on cars. So if you're having a hard time like Douglas is, it's totally normal. Did you do it? Kinda, yeah.
Ghost Rider?
Oh. All right, you got 24 megameters in there working, and get this control arm off, and then we're going to do it to the other side. We'll get that one off, and then soon we're going to be playing with our new Synergy goodies. All right.
She blows. Now we can take the sway bar off, we'll take the struts off, and then we can go ahead and start cutting this out.
All right, so we're going to give you guys a couple options on how you want to go about cutting this car apart. So, Doug, take it away.
All right, as we discussed earlier, this needs to be trimmed out of here for tire clearance. There's a couple different ways you can do this. First, before you do anything, you're going to want to mark this, use the frame as a kind of a template to mark this where you want to cut it. Do that before you do anything else. But now you have three options of what you want to do. If you're going to use this frame, you have two options. You can either cut this on the car, or you can take this out.
Okay, I'll drop the whole subframe.
Drop the whole subframe, cut it, clean it, paint it, do whatever you want, put it back in. I mean, this thing's all nasty and covered in grime and everything else, right? It's a lot easier to cut it when it's out of the car. You don't have to worry about cutting through brake lines. Actually, let's show the other side. As you can see, 3 brake lines come up underneath the frame rail right here and right across the top. So you have to be very careful if you're cutting through here. And you don't necessarily have to cut in this area anyways. The tire's not going to hit there. But you're going to have to cut back here. You don't want to cut those brake lines.
No.
All right. The third is you can remove this and put a tubular cross member in it, which a lot of people do. So we're giving you options. If you're going to drop this cross member, there's a couple things you need to know. Mm-hmm. This is the only thing holding the engine up. And do this at your own risk. I mean, if somebody screws this up and you smash your oil pan or the motor falls out of the bottom of the car, don't come blaming me.
Don't come blaming Doug or me. Right. Nope.
So I'm going to show you how I do it, and it's up to you to decide if this is something you want to do. But what you need to do is spread the load across this oil pan. You don't want to just take a jack and smash it up through the front or whatever. It's going to dent the oil pan up here. And there's a pickup tube coming right off the oil pump right here that you can easily smash. Take a nice piece of block of wood that will span the distance of the pan and use a nice jack, whether it be a floor jack if you're on the floor or a jack like this if you're on a lift. Okay, this is really just an exhaust jack. We use them for a lot of different things. You're going to take some pressure off of the engine, and then you take these bolts out right here.
Okay.
You can get to them right through the side. Now that you have everything out of the way, there's these nuts on either side. These are your motor mount nuts. You take those two off. You take these two 18 millimeter bolts. Well, look at that. That's loose anyway.
Oh, goody.
Okay?
Oh.
And then there's two 15 millimeter bolts back here.
Okay.
All right, so if you zoom out, or kind of give us a full spectrum view here, on either side you're going to take this nut off, those two 18 millimeter bolts, and these two 15 millimeter bolts. On both sides, this whole cross member is just going to come right down. You can cut it, modify it, clean it, whatever, and then you're going to bolt it right back up into the same position, hook everything back up, and then you can go ahead and start installing your angle pad. So what we are going to do, we're going to mark this, we're going to take it out, clean it, cut it, paint it, maybe paint it. I don't know. Depends on how much time we have. And we're going to put it back in.
Okay.
And only then will we take this back out. We're debating now if I'm going to leave this overnight with this out, or if we're going to try to get it out, cut it, and put it back in.
Right.
That's where we're at. It'll be fine. We've had engines sit overnight, being held up without a cross member in them.
Yep.
A lot of these drift cars, we end up having to take cross members out because something gets hit or damaged. So we hold the engines up, we take the subframes out, fix everything, and put them back. It's a very common thing. Most cars nowadays have a subframe where you can just drop everything right out through the bottom. They don't come out through the top like they did in the old days.
Right.
On a unibody car. Right?
Yep.
So that's where we're at, and that's what we're gonna do.
We're having our special friend here, Gucci Burr, help us.
Camera shy a little bit, but
Yeah, he doesn't get on camera too much. I don't know if you guys know him.
drop it.
Yeah, drop it.
Down she goes.
Voila.
There's our cut
Now my
marks.
hands are freaking dirty.
There's our cut marks there. I'll make a line across.
Something to think about while you're in there. While you're in there, this is a good time to get in there. Maybe try to change your headers or starter while you got this car all apart. Right now, we're degreasing, cleaning, and painting the subframe real fast. So some details you don't have to do if you're just trying to get out to the track in your drift missile. But while you're in there, maybe sometimes attention to detail.
We're gonna put this cross member back in. It's all cut out and cleaned and degreased and ready to go back in. So let's do that. And we can start putting the suspension back in. Dump in this area. It's easier to stick the back bolts in first if you can. Something to hold. These are the old nuts that were on this. They're all beat up and broken and everything. These are an M14 by 2.0 thread. So we're replacing them with those and some big thick washers, and we can get rid of the factory stuff.
Do you need me to do anything else?
Just get them started. You don't have to tighten anything up yet.
All right, 3 bolts. We dropped out the old strut. What do we got going on here now, Doggy Builds?
This is our BC coilover with the top hat already mounted. It's got 3 studs, and they're labeled right and left. Right and left is as you're sitting in the car. Okay? Right?
Right.
Left.
Left.
If you don't know your right from your left, this is going to be a hard task.
There's videos on that on YouTube as well, rights and lefts.
Yep.
I'm gonna knock Dougie off this thing like I'm in a damn TLC match, brother.
Just a quick word on the coilovers. These style drift coilovers with a threaded body or the threaded knuckle mount. The ride height adjustment is done here, okay? Not on the spring. Don't be jacking the spring up and down to get your ride height. These are threaded all the way through. So you bust that loose and you thread these down. This is how you set your ride height. And I know we gotta bring these down some, so we're gonna start even on both sides, probably somewhere around there.
Okay.
They should leave them short for shipping, right? You can use a shorter box. So open them up, bring them down some, set them both at about the same height, and then when you set the car on the ground and load it, bounce the suspension and settle it, you'll have an idea where your ride height is, and then you can make any more adjustments from there. Okay, we're gonna start assembling one of these control arms with the supplied rod ends, pine joints, whatever you wanna call them, I can't move the rod end. And you have a big boy, that is your ball joint. You have 2 smaller ones, I believe they're 5/8 thread, that's a 3/4 thread, and these are for the control arm to the subframe. All right, so you're gonna grab the ones you need for this, and then you're gonna do jam nuts. You got a 3/4 and 2 of the 5/8. Put your jam nuts on first. In the instructions, it's gonna tell you how many threads to leave out. But before we do any of that, we're gonna put the jam nuts on, and I use a grease. You can put these in dry. I don't like to put them in dry. The reason is because they can chuck in there, they can bind, they can gall, they can do all kinds of weird things. So this is Schaefer's. You don't have to use this, but some type of high pressure or extreme pressure grease. You're gonna put them on the threads of this, kind of work it in. That's gonna keep it lubricated, and it's gonna take up some of the void inside. You're gonna screw that baby in there. I'm screwing it kind of weird because I have grease all over my finger.
Yeah, it's all right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this jam nut all the way up, and then I'm going to bottom this out in there. Okay, there's 5 threads right there. You want to, when you tighten these down in the chassis after you're all done, you want to keep these pointed straight up and down. As you tighten this jam nut, sometimes it's going to want to, like say, move this way or move that way. You want to keep it straight up so that you have real good ball joint alignment here, so it won't bind. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and lock that down. Do the same thing. Just leave these hand tight, and then this one is ready to install. Now on your tie rod, this is your outer tie rod body. This is gonna go to your knuckle. This goes to your inner tie rod on your rack. If you're using a Fox body, you're gonna need to use SN95 tie rods.
Okay.
All right. They're like I want to say they're a 13 millimeter or ½ inch thread, where these are a 5/8. So you'll notice which side the tapered side is for the rod end. They want to see about 5 to 6 threads out here. We're going to go 5, and we're going to lock these down. Now there's something important about these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. These are both right hand thread. The reason for that is because they don't want this to be, a lot of these kits will be left hand thread on this side and right hand on this side. So that way when you screw this one way, it'll shorten it, and you screw it the other way, it'll lengthen it just by turning this. We don't want that, because if you screw this out and keep screwing it out, keep screwing it out, keep screwing it out, trying to get your toe, what can happen is you're going to lose engagement in here, and you can end up ripping the threads out. So when you get this in, you get it about 5 or 6 threads, I'd say.
Okay.
You're going to want to lock that down and leave it. Your adjustment is going to be on the tie rod, inner tie rod end on this side, and they're going to tell you that in the instructions. And there's flats on these. I don't know if you can see them. Well, it depends on which one you get, but this one you can just grab right here with a set of pliers. Take that clamp loose, turn this, and it'll thread in and out of here.
Okay.
To get your adjustment. Leave this thing alone. Don't stick this thing way out. Could cause you problems. All right, we got our ends on the tie rod with like 2 threads sticking out, and we got our high pressure grease on the inner tie rod end. We're going to thread this baby on here. I'm going to leave the jam nut where it was. Not sure if that's going to be close enough or not, but let's just leave it there, and this will kind of give us an idea. Here, I'm bottomed out, right? I'm bottomed out into here. I can't go any farther. Okay, we'll back it off the thread, and we'll see kind of where we're at. We line that up. All right, I can tell already that I'm going to need to come out a little bit. So I'm going to bottom it out again, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do both sides of the same. We're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. We're going to go all the way tight and then back it off like 5 full turns, which is the way the other side is. Okay, we're tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minty.
Yeah.
There's that. That gets discarded.
Garbage.
And then we rip this right off here.
All right, we got both knuckles over here. Both of them are cleaned up, cut down. Douglas, what is the next step?
The next step is to put the knuckle adapters on. And these come with these Ackerman plates. And they're adjustable on this end. They can swing in and out to adjust Ackerman. I'm not going to go into full details of Ackerman on this. There's plenty of videos out there to explain it. But I'm going to put this in the center neutral section with the bolts up through the bottom. So that way you can just put a wrench on there. You won't, if you put a bolt down through here, you have to take this whole knuckle adapter off, right? In order to, you'd have to take the whole knuckle adapter off in order to get some of these bolts out, right? So put them up through the bottom, put the nut on top, and that basically goes on just like that. All right, so we're gonna get this set up in there. They fit in there super nice, and we'll show you how that bolts together. This has this cool recessed little area that holds the bolt, which is really nice. So you don't have to worry about trying to hold it. You just put the nut on top, call it a day.
Beautiful. So we get these both built up. We'll be back with you shortly.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put the spindle on that goes on the driver's side, which will be the tie rod facing forward. Bolt in this for now to hold it in place. I'm gonna keep this mount on here in case they want to keep ABS, which I doubt because actually, you know what? Take it off. Fine. We're not putting ABS back on. We're gonna delete it. It'll just cause me trouble drifting. Okay, here we go. All right, all of these are torqued. Your ball joint's torqued. Your control arm to frame bolts are torqued, and all your jam nuts are tight. We're going to go ahead and tighten this one up now. That should be around 100 foot-pounds. Okay, that's tight. So we got one in for now because this is that misalignment one that we're not going to use. Let's just stuff it in there to kind of hold things. What I realized when I went to put this together, and I completely missed it in the instructions, so even if you've been doing this a long time and you think you're a professional, read the instructions better. Your tie rod bolt needs to go down through there first. So if you didn't do this already, or if you're going along with the video, stop, take these back off, put this on. And then this will go back into its place and we can do everything we need. We'll also have a bolt, and it's the longer. There's 6 bolts. These shorter ones go for the control arms. These long ones go for the ball joint. Now you can see where this is going to line up right here. Okay, that's your ball joint, and then there's a misalignment bushing here and another one that goes underneath. Go ahead and stick that in, your bushing in it. Pull this into place and shove it up through. Just like that. And go ahead and stick your nut on top. Okay. All right, I was stating before that when you put these on, you tighten these jam nuts on, a lot of times these rod ends will move. See what happens when I'm tightening it? It's rotating. Now you've got opportunity for a bunch of bind in that. So what you want to do is loosen that up, get this kind of straight, and use another wrench to kind of hold it in place. And then go ahead and tighten your jam nut down. That way you have the full range of movement on your ball joint. All right, so now we fixed our little error. We've got our bolt coming down through here. We slide our long misalignment spacer on. That is also 120. Makes sense because it's the same size bolt. Go ahead and shove our tie rod in there. Wiggle it around until it falls in. Like that. And then you can put your small misalignment spacer on the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and tighten it up. You're going to need to use a wrench to stuff in between here to hold that while you tighten this down. In there, don't jam this down, just go ahead and tighten it up a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and torque that to 100. Okay, nut on the tie rod. This one doesn't matter as much because it'll still spin back. You're going to have a little slop in it until you tighten the jam nut, and that's okay. We'll tighten that up after we get our alignment figured out. All right, this should be the last stuff you have left over with your kit. You've got these 2 plates which hook to the back side of your brake caliper. The bolts go through it. And you have these bolts and jam nuts. And what these are for is these will actually attach in here like this. And these will go into that bung right there. What those are for is they act as a steering stop. We are going to use these. Some people don't use these, some people do. Since we don't have any rack limiters right now, we're going to go ahead and use these. but we're gonna order some rack limiters so we can go ahead and put an actual limiter inside here instead of using this positive stop, which is a little violent, right? So we're gonna put these on for now. Set them to where you want. You just screw these in and out of here, and then tighten the jam nut until you get it to the steering angle that you're comfortable with or the max that you want to use, and then lock it down. I am going to put the grease on here as well, just so we don't get any binding or anything, and it'll keep it lubricated so that way it won't rust or anything.
All right, so we got the wheels back on the car. We actually brought it down on the ground, and the ride height is a little too high in the front. So what Doug's doing on both sides now, like we said earlier, he's adjusting from the bottom, not the top, to get that ride height just right. And then we're gonna do ourselves a little bit of alignment. It's gonna be time to test this thing, Douglas. Yeah, he's excited. You can't tell, but he is. All right, we got her down. We got that looking good. Good ride height. Now we're going to get this thing set up. Dougie Fresh, what's next?
We're going to try to set it around probably like an 1/8 inch toe out, just to get started, see where it likes it, maybe 1/8, maybe a little bit more, and probably around 4 degrees of camber. And let's see how it rides and how it handles, how he likes it, and we can always make adjustments from there. But that's kind of going to be our base. 1/8 inch toe out and 4 degrees of camber.
All right, let's get going. All right, now we already got her warmed up to temperature. We did do some cruise around laps, made sure everything was settled in and feels good. So now she's ready for the real test, and that's what you guys want to see. Weld the diff, Synergy angle kit, Steeda Mustang Pro Charged. In the second gear, I don't want to rub the snot out of her. Oh!
Man, it got soaked. So is it feeling way better?
Oh, I approve. Dude, this is a completely different car.
What do you think? Yeah, give it a little bit more over here for the guys. They didn't get a lot.
All right, so this is the first time the car's ever been driven that hard, because before it just was peg legging, didn't have an angle kit. It rips. It ran awesome. It handles great. The angle kit feels incredible. I mean, really those two things, what you need to do to your car. Weld the diff, spend the money on a proper chassis. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and go get a crazy truck or something. Save your money, get a good chassis. Mustang is a good cheap start. Parts are readily available, and you put a Synergy angle kit on it, and you'll be wheeling it. All you gotta do is keep your belt on. Until next time, guys, Big Indian Motorsports, we're out.